of Fox Sports.
We are Fox. We are Arizona.
When the lights are brightest, pitching rules the day, or in Arizona's case, it rules an entire week. 6 wins in a row, allowing the offense to regain lost confidence and quite properly heat right back up. Tonight, Rockies Tulo and Cargo arrive tearing the cover off the ball, but just don't forget, pitching rules the day. In the great state of Arizona, Diamondbacks baseball, better said first place Arizona Diamondbacks baseball as they roll on here in the 2011 season. This time, as mentioned just a moment ago, the Colorado Rockies come to town, and all the action on this Monday night is right here on Fox Sports Arizona. Again, what does it all mean? It all ties into the standings, of course. It was moving day yesterday for the Diamondbacks as San Francisco lost to Houston tonight. The San Francisco Giants host the Chicago Cubs. Cy Young candidate Tim Lincecum is on the mound for the Giants. But here in Arizona, we welcome you back to the ballpark. Hi, everyone. This is Mark Grace. My name is Darren Sutton. And a good Monday to you. Hope it's a great week for one and all, as well as these Arizona Diamondbacks. And if they continue to pitch like they have, which has been dominating out of that starting slot, they will be just fine. And most importantly, Daniel Hudson, it was he and Ian Kennedy that got things back on the right track on this recent road trip.
Well, certainly, and it's going to be difficult for them to continue to pitch this well the rest of the season. During this 6-game winning streak, the Diamondbacks have only given up 5 runs. Daniel Hudson, though, really sharp his last outing in Washington, D.C. He went 8 2/3 shutout baseball before giving up a couple of long balls, and I thought he really used his fastball well, Darren. He used his changeup well as well, and he's a guy now, and he's even come out and said that, you know what, I'm starting to really get a lot of juice and a little extra adrenaline watching Ian Kennedy pitch. Well, Ian was terrific last night. Now it's Daniel Hudson's turn.
The other guys that are getting juice and adrenaline are guys that might not have been in the big leagues if it weren't for injuries or lack of performance early in the season. In other words, kind of the replacements, if you will. Guys that weren't on the opening day roster, that has also been a big part of this 6-game winning streak.
It all started with Sean Burroughs 6 games ago. Whack, a long ball, the first one in 6 years for Sean Burroughs. It was good to see. Lyle Overbay comes to mind. And then it's guys like Goldschmidt hitting some tape measure home runs. And then, of course, the trade with Toronto brought a couple of middle infielders over. Colin Cowgill, a big game yesterday. It just continues to go on and on. Cole Minter, Miley, 2 guys in the starting rotation that were in the minor leagues when the season started. So you have to have pleasant surprises to be in first place at this point in the season, and there have been plenty.
Well, when you're a mid-market club and you can't spend $100 million, that's how you win a division.
Yeah.
You have guys come from all over the place. Well, outside of your salary, we can't. We've got to get out of here. We've got to get down to the diamond and have Brad's perspective. When we come back, we will follow the leader, Cy Young candidate Ian Kennedy. Brad will tackle that subject when we return.
Phoenix Chase Field as the Arizona Diamondbacks open up a 3-game series against the Colorado Rockies. You know, as of late, the D-backs have been very streaky. They won 7 straight. They dropped 6 straight. Now they're looking to make it 7 straight once again. It's been interesting. During the last 6 games, all wins for the Arizona Diamondbacks. The starting pitchers have been absolutely phenomenal. An ERA of 0.66. They've given up only 3 earned runs in 41 innings. Last night's winner, Ian Kennedy, believes a lot of their success this season, and especially recently, is the fact they're all great friends and they enjoy a healthy, friendly competition. It's our Geico quote of the game.
Every time Joe throws well, I want to throw well too. And I imagine you talk to Huddy, and he wants to do the same thing. He wants to make the inner competition inside is you want to outdo the other guy, and it's all friendly competition. And no matter what we're doing, we're trying to compete and just poke fun at each other. And it's I know with Huddy, he'll probably do better than me tonight than I did last night. So and he'll probably he did joke about that. Every time I do well, he does well. So. We like that amongst each other.
And that was Daniel Hudson in the background. He hopes to duplicate the success of Ian Kennedy. Stay with us. The Rockies may be 11 games out of first place, but they've got some talent. Cargo, he's the reigning National League Player of the Week. Rockies looking to do some damage. The D-backs look to keep their streak alive. Darren and Mark have the call on Fox Sports Arizona after the break.
Club card at any Gila River casino. You can win up to $20,000 instantly. Get to Jack in the Box right now and come try the new Jumbo Breakfast Platter. It's only $2.99 plus tax at participating restaurants. Southwest Airlines' new Rapid Rewards. Unlimited reward seats with no blackout dates. Hi, folks. Dexter Fowler set to lead things off for the Colorado Rockies. Cheating in at third base is Ryan Roberts. We're going to play some baseball. We're glad you're with us on this Monday. First pitch is a fastball over the inside corner. And Diamondbacks, they are underway against the Colorado Rockies. Hudson making his 25th start of the year. He's got a sub-4 ERA. He has earned himself 11 victories. And for Daniel Hudson, continuing to add to that innings total. Daniel's got a few more wins than we showed you. He's got 13 wins, and he's pushing 180 innings. As he is heading into uncharted territory. The most he has ever pitched in his big league career, and dare I say even better, his professional career, Gracie and folks at home, is 188 and a third. That was last year, minor league and major league, so he's going to go well beyond
he's going
that.
to go well past that. It's going to be uncharted grounds. He throws a fastball right by him. Block it.
2-2 the count. Fowler without a long ball. Now he's good for some extra bases, though. He's got 13 triples and 25 doubles. Inside, 3-2 the count. Dexter Fowler. Now the one thing the Rockies have been doing lately is hitting. I mean, they haven't been pitching like they want to, out of the bullpen as well, but especially when you get into the middle of the order with Carlos Gonzalez and Troy Tulowitzki, really hot. This man and his speed can set the tone.
This is what you hate if you're a starting pitcher, right? Out of the gate, the very first batter goes to 3-2, starts fouling pitches off. Just makes you sweat early, I guess, if you're Daniel Hudson.
Swing and a miss. Had him out front of a changeup there. Fowler goes down on strikes.
A bunch of fastballs to get to 3-2. Then the seventh pitch of the at-bat is that beautiful changeup right there. Way out in front of it was Dexter Fowler. And speed is officially kept off the base paths here in the first inning.
Oakland Athletic and now Colorado Rocky. Mark Ellis, he gets ready to hit. Ellis, the veteran here in Colorado, has seen an offensive resurgence a bit. 285, 3 home runs, 15 batted in the National League as he takes a strike. 0-1 the count. Good dive on that fastball. 0-2.
Brian Gorman, home plate umpire, always been a bit of a fan of the pitcher. Usually a pretty big, pretty consistent strike zone with Brian Gorman back there. Hitters better be swinging.
Let's take a look at the starting lineup for the Colorado Rockies. Fowler, Ellis, and then Carlos Gonzalez, Troy Tulowitzki. Todd Helton slugging .480, back a bit this year. Seth Smith, Kevin Kuzminoff, Chris Iannetta, and Alex White. Back to the screen it goes. The veteran Ellis in his last 20 games hitting over 300. He's in the middle of a 6-game hitting streak right now. Skipper Jim Tracy used the word this weekend, volleyball. Not about baseball, but he said, for my club to have made a run over the last few weeks, we couldn't volleyball back and forth. And it's a good visual if you think about it. Wins and losses. He said we needed to be straight foot on the gas and starting to go on a 19 of 20, and they just haven't done it.
It's hard to do, but they've done it in the past.
Well, and that's why he said he'll at least entertain questions about it. Line drive, base hit left field. It's a 7-game hitting streak for Ellis. Let's take a look defensively. Parra, Young, Upton, rangy outfield to say the least. Roberts, McDonald, and Hill in the middle. Paul Goldschmidt is at first. Miguel Montero is behind the plate. And here is Carlos Gonzalez.
And this is where the Colorado Rockies do big-time damage. Numbers 3 through 6. Very talented hitters. Very dangerous hitters, and it starts with Carlos Gonzalez.
Fastball is inside. Had a 4-hit day, Carlos Gonzalez did on Saturday, and 2 of those hits were bunt hits. He is really on a big-time roll. There's that 15-game hitting streak. He's got 5 bunt hits this year, but he's also got 8 homers during the hitting streak. Swing and a miss at a changeup for the one-time Diamondback farmhand.
Yeah, he was deemed expendable. And he was involved in the trade that brought Dan Herron down from Oakland. Dan Herron now finds himself in Anaheim. And Carlos has bounced around a little bit, but he's found a home in Colorado, as that one's right up under his elbows for ball 2.
And the one thing he has done, outside of being an MVP candidate last year and a real bounce-back second-half guy this year, he's made the Diamondbacks pay every day that he has faced them since they traded him away.
Yeah, there were some folks here that thought he was expendable. He says, I'll show you. I'm not expendable.
High fly left field. He beat him with a good fastball, didn't he? 91, a little bit of dive down and away. Gonzalez did the right thing, let it travel, just couldn't square it up.
Yeah, he was just a little bit tardy on that fastball. As you can see, it's down. And as you said, he was just tardy enough to hit a lazy fly ball. And now, yeah, you've gotten through Carlos Gonzalez, but now an even better, more dangerous hitter steps in, and that's the perennial all-star Troy Tulowitzki.
Best hitter in baseball in the second half. 381 is his batting average, the most hits, the most extra base hits. The best on-base percentage, all that in the second half. He should be mentioned in the most valuable player discussion, to be fair to him, no matter where his team stands. Just an incredible second half. And it's with respect for Tulowitzki and Helton, who waits on deck, that for a while, skipper Jim Tracy said, I'll answer those questions about the magical run, even though we're below 500 and putting together a here and a there winning streak. And it was only out of respect for those guys that have been there in the past. Talking with Troy Tulowitzki the other day, he said, just not the pitching that the Rockies have had in the past, and it's too late now. Just not the pitching, though. You know, some bad luck losing some pitchers. The 0-2. Bouncing ball, had him out front. Boy, Hudson cleaned it up very nicely and got the two big guns and disposed of them. The Diamondbacks ready to go to work. Kirk Gibson now a plus 500 manager. We talked about the journey to erase last year. He's done it with this season. Don't forget to visit southwest.com/Yahtzee for your chance to win rapid reward points. Roberts, Hill, and Upton, the first third. Montero, Goldschmidt, and Young starting to hit a bit lately. It is Parra, McDonald, and Daniel Hudson who can really hit for a pitcher. The degree numbers for the big right-hander, about 6 feet 4 inches tall. North Carolina is where he was born. He was a Tar Heel and an Indians first-round pick in 2009. Now his name is Alex White, and White came over in the trade for Ubaldo Jimenez. Along with Drew Pomerantz and a couple of other pieces, a talented lefty is in the minor leagues. This is the talented righty that came for Ubaldo as well.
Yeah, he's got a lot of stuff that moves. He's going to hang around 90 miles an hour with his fastball. He's got a changeup behind it as well. And watch his delivery and tell me who he might remind you of, Darren.
Pours that sinking fastball over the inside.
Got a little Houston Street to him, doesn't he?
Yes, he definitely does.
The closer, used to be the closer for the Colorado Rockies.
Comes over his head to keep things compact. And he sails that one high. 1-1 the count. In his 4 major league starts this year, the team, meaning the Indians and the Rockies, are 4-0 in his starts, and that's what it's all about. Ryan Roberts drives it. Deep left field. The Diamondbacks lead it.
Well, that didn't take long, did it?
Leadoff homer for Roberts. Fulton Holmes homer. $150 to the Central Arizona Mountain Rescue Association. Fulton Holmes.
Home run number 17. Fastball down the middle. Ryan Roberts knows he got it. He just catches every bit of it and rips it plenty of distance, about 10-15 rows back in left field. One zip, Diamondbacks.
That's his third career leadoff homer, the second time he has done it this year. And there's your big difference, by the way, between this right-handed pitcher in the minor leagues and since he has moved to the major leagues. 1-0 is the count on Aaron Hill as he takes outside.
Let's see how the youngster can bounce back. That youngster being Alex White. He just throws his third pitch of the game and it goes in the seats in left field. Now he misses with a couple of pitches here to Aaron Hill.
On 2-0.
Quality pitch there.
2-1 the count for Hill, who overall this season, you can see the numbers, trying to raise that batting average. Starting, I should say, to contribute as a Diamondback as well, and he feels good about it. And Kirk Gibson was saying before the game today as he swings through that one, sometimes you can't bring a player in and say, this is how we do things, here, 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 and here, and be like this and act like that and swing like this. He said, I as a manager have to sit back and learn this young man for a while.
Sure.
We have certain standards, but he fits into those standards already. He said, I'll give you an example. He said he hit a ball in the gap over the last few days, extra base hit. He was overheard on the bench. Gibson heard him telling one of his mates, man, that was a pitch. I for sure should have hit that ball out of here. And Gibby stopped dead in his tracks and said, now, that's a double. We're fine with doubles here.
Yeah. Now, if you remember last year when the Toronto Blue Jays came to town, Aaron Hill and the rest of the Blue Jays, as he draws ball four, I mean, it was a pinball machine here out in the bleachers, the way they were hitting home runs. And we made a joke about Cito Gaston, the manager then at the time of the Toronto Blue Jays, that doubles just aren't good enough for the Toronto Blue Jays. They need to be homers.
I think there's something to that, though.
I'm not saying you're wrong either. I think there might be.
And maybe over-swinging at times and not being satisfied with a double.
There's nothing wrong with hitting it in front of the wall. It doesn't always have to go over the wall.
And a walk is perfect, too. He draws a walk. In front of Justin Upton. Big swing, 0-1 the count. That one cuts away. The funny thing about Hill, too, another part of the discussion with Gibson and the media before the game today was Hill, and that he just doesn't walk much. He has 23 all season long. You can talk about it all you want, and there's a walk.
There's a walk, and he ended up having a very good at-bat. Anytime you get on base in front of Justin Upton, it's a very good at-bat.
25 home runs, 77 RBIs for the now 24-year-old Justin Upton. He's been adding candle to his cake each year he's been in the big leagues. Starting to when he turned 19 in 07, and on we have gone. That pitch is low. That one dives. The changeup you talked about is a variation of a split-fingered fastball that he throws behind the fastball and throws it a lot. He does have a slider, but it's pretty much that fastball, and he'll run it both ways, and the changeup or split you were talking about. Pitch is outside. He took off. He's out. Hill took off, lost his footing, changed his mind, and couldn't get back.
First base umpire Dan Bellino and Eric Young having a conversation. They're still having a conversation. They're still having a conversation out there. Tough to tell there. Eric Young still giving it to Dan Bellino out there. I mean, Dan Bellino's looking right at it. So if he missed it, it's not because he was out of position. Anyway, Eric Young still giving him an earful.
1-2 the count.
Diamondbacks are losing far too many base runners. Far too many. By being picked off or caught stealing.
And this is why it might have slipped away for Hill early on.
Well, now he's out in no man's land, and it's time to get back. It's just very tough to tell. But Dan Bellino, the first base, I mean, he's looking right at it. So like I said, if he indeed missed it, it's not because he wasn't in perfect position to make the call.
It looked out to me, but maybe I saw it differently than others. Into the dirt it goes. Held on to a fastball.
Did he look out to you? I just couldn't tell. It was that close.
Well, you stood at first base for so many of those tags. I'd like to ask you this in your history with umpires. Let's see this one.
This will be a better look. Oh, he's out. It's a good call. That's a good call. He was out. It looked like that hand was going to get there. It kind of never got to the bag.
2-2 the count. 1 out. Upton tired of waiting. I was going to say, if you're a first baseman, you've stood there a bunch, and when a hitter kind of stumbles and slides and gets his way back, the odds are already against you.
True. It just looks bad.
That's what I mean. That's what I mean.
Right. To an umpire, just when you get out there and you stumble and you're in no man's land, you've already put it in the umpire's mind. This guy's probably going to be out. And if it's going to be that close, he's already kind of predisposed that he's going to call you out because it's looked bad. Look out, Justin. Ball 4.
Defensively, let's take a look at the Rockies. It's brought to you by David Robleski and Associates. Smith, Fowler, Carlos Gonzalez. That's a good outfield as well. Very rangy. Kuzminoff, Troy Tulowitzki, Mark Ellis, and the Toddfather at first base.
I love that.
Chris Iannetta and Alex White. There he is.
Here comes Todd Helton having a conversation probably about, Todd, did you get him? Because I was yelling at the umpire back here. And, if he was out, tell me to quit yelling at the umpire. And most of us first basemen will give him a straight answer. Yeah, he was out. Or no, we got lucky there.
I bet that goes over well. Montero takes the pitch, dives away. Good dive on that fastball, 0-1 the count. Now, that was a real sinker.
As you can see, Brian Gorman has a pretty good-sized strike zone. A little bit different strike zone than we had yesterday. And a crew we had with the San Diego Padres. Tim Timmons was behind the plate yesterday. A fine umpire, but a much smaller zone than we'll see tonight.
We talk about these walks. 2 in this inning. Arizona seems to be walking a bunch, and it's mainly because of a guy like Chris Young who's walked a ton. But since July 29th at the end of the month, the Diamondbacks walked 99 times. Only Cincinnati and Colorado have walked more. That's in the National League. They're walking a bunch.
Just trying not to get picked off here. Caught stealing.
Well, I know you made note of how important it was to reach base in front of Justin Upton. Equally as frustrating, I'm sure, for Hill to be erased in front of Justin Upton. Miguel Montero, 65 runs batted in. Beat him in, and a fastball that cut in under his hands. Ellis was all the way back to make the play. Diamondbacks lead it 1-0 on a leadoff home run by Ryan Roberts. Hey, there's 2 more games in this series, by the way. We're just getting started on this, the first. Don't forget, you can come Tuesday and Wednesday and sit anywhere you want in the upper deck for $5. Make plans before this team heads back out on the road.
It's an incredible deal. Incredible.
I'm hoping to see more and more fans, even more than tonight, take advantage of it.
Come watch a ball club that's in first place.
Runner on the move, throw down, Upton. He stole it. And so for Justin Upton, stolen base number 20.
Well, the 2020 club has just added a member in Justin Upton. Low throw up the line. Poor throw there by Chris Iannetta. So now a base hit will make it a 2-0 ball game. Justin Upton just continuing his fine year.
It'll just be a harmless single. They're playing deep, especially in right field for Paul. Outside, 2-0 the count on Goldschmidt. 19 hits in the major leagues, 3 of them doubles, 5 of them home runs. He too has started to walk a little bit more the last few days. I'm sure, as you saw him exhale there, exhaling in the big leagues as well. Popped up and into the seats, that one will go. So Upton out there, the 2020 club you mentioned. Glad you did, because we also tell you Chris Young and Eric Burns have joined that club, along with Justin Upton. And Upton has joined it twice.
Young's next home run will give him 20.
The 2-1 outside. That's a good take right there.
And right now you can see Alex White really nitpicky with his fastball ever since that home run off the bat of Ryan Roberts. A walk to Hill. Fortunately for White, he was picked off. A walk to Upton. So he's trying to stay away from the middle of the plate, but he's missing. And there it is again. 3 walks in the inning now.
He did not give Goldschmidt anything to hit. And an opportunity now for Chris Young. You mentioned Young with the 19 homers and 19 stolen bases, 1 of each. He will join that club again, starting to warm up and starting to get comfortable outside of all the walks. A little bit more on Chris. We bring Brad in. What do you have, Brad?
Well, you talked earlier about the walks for the Arizona Diamondbacks. A lot more discipline, a lot more patience at the plate, and CY leads them with 62 walks. In fact, he closed off that road trip walking in 5 straight games. And I talked to him earlier in the game, if he takes pride in that, and he says yes. He says it's every bit as satisfying as driving something to the gap. He's really taken a lot of pride in his patience at the plate, and a lot of times he's thinking maybe we'll get him out of this little mini slump. Once you show that ability to, a couple times he's come back from 0-2 counts to walk. And so, Mark, I guess I'd ask you, have you ever been like a struggle when you walked and showed some pace at the plate? Could that help you get out of a little bit of a scuffle?
Absolutely. I think any hitter will tell you if it's a good sign. When I was walking, I knew that I was starting to come around at the plate, because it's just simple, Brad. It means you're taking the pitches that are off the plate and you're swinging at strikes. And it's hard enough to hit in this game when you're just swinging at strikes. If you start swinging pitches off the plate, well, you're done.
Good stuff, Brad. Thank you. Young digs in. Fouls that one off up over the press box area. 0-1 the count on Chris Young. He's got 19 home runs and 63 batted in this year. The walks, by the way, take that batting average from 236 and turn it into a 323 on base percentage, so at least you're helping in that way. And Chris has scored 77 times.
And right now, your frame of mind is you've walked 2 guys in front of me. Oh, I'm going to make you pay, Mr. Alex White.
Well, let's be honest about it. I mean, we're sitting up here breaking it down, but he walked Paul Goldschmidt because he wasn't going to pitch to Paul Goldschmidt.
It sure looked like it. A guy that's got 3 weeks in the big leagues. He's already commanding that kind of respect around the league. These pitchers don't want to make highlight films, because when he homers, they go a really, really long ways.
The 1-1. Outside. 2-1 the count. This year in AAA, this young man in 8 overall starts, 2-1 with a 1.80 ERA. He's a 2.31 career earned run average in the minor leagues. Still just 22, out of the University of North Carolina. Pitched his team in his final college year to the College World Series. Popped it up.
Well, Chris got a pretty good pitch to hit there, and he just got underneath it and fouled it back. Right where he likes the ball, out over, about thigh high. He got the barrel of the bat to the baseball, as you could see. But he was just underneath it.
Gerardo Parra waits on deck. A Ryan Roberts homer started this inning. Waves at a pitch away, and down goes Young. Reaction there that White worked through it. Reaction Roberts. Huh. You think he knew he got it? You bet he did. Now for the Fry's Diamondbacks Rewards Program, and earn points by buying participating items at Fry's. Kia Motors. Learn more. Visit phxkia.com. Todd Helton takes low and away. 1-0 the count to the longtime Colorado Rockies first baseman. Helton experiencing a season in which he has seen the slugging percentage bounce back for him. He's come up with more hits, more RBIs, and I think he was on a lot of guys. Chipper Jones was on that list. You had a list of guys you were keeping an eye on. A lot of experts about the game were keeping an eye on Todd Helton, and he's proven them wrong this year.
And I'm very happy for that, because this guy's a terrific player. And I'll be honest, I thought he was on his last leg last year, but he's proven me and a lot of people wrong, and good for him. I'm not wrong very often, Darren. I know you know that.
Anyhow, 323 in his career, 347 homers, and more than 1,300 RBIs. I like to round that up to 1,500. Either way, as he takes a walk, that's a good-looking at bat by Todd Helton. The one thing he has always done, too, we're praising the Diamondbacks for walking. He's been a walking machine, and love pointing numbers out to you because I know what floats your boat statistically. In his career, that's now 1,254 walks, just a little over 1,000 strikeouts.
Which is fabulous. You want a little walk statistic?
I'd love to hear
You ready
one.
to get bowled over? That's kind of rare for Daniel Hudson right there. You know why?
Why?
27 starts this year for Daniel Hudson. 27. 17 of those starts, 17 out of 27, one walk or less for Daniel Hudson. How about that? You want stats? I'll give you stats. That's the last stat I'm going to give you tonight.
It's good to have you on board.
You hear me crumbling it up?
It's good to have you on board. Moving to the sabermetrician side of the aisle. The 0-1. That pitch is away. And this is what you were talking about in the meeting. I know you had looked this up on Stats Inc. and contacted the folks with Baseball Reference and Fangraphs as well. And I think that's incredible.
That's a stat that I'm a big believer in. I like that stat.
Oh, how?
Because you know how much I hate walks.
All right. Pass to diving Goldschmidt into right field. Seth Smith with a single. And having a year in which he is doing just about everything career-wise for Smith, that's 114 hits, a career high.
Goldschmidt can't make the play. First and second because of that leadoff walk. First and second, nobody out. And the Colorado Rockies, who've been scoring plenty of runs lately, looking to make a little noise here and there part of the second.
Kevin Kuzminoff, 4 of 17 with Colorado, played this year with Oakland as well. Takes a pitch that is low, 1-0 the count to Kevin. For several years, manned third base for the Colorado, or I should say for the San Diego Padres before he moved over here. Still just 30 years old, and he hopes that he's able to turn things around career-wise. High fly ball. To the track goes Parra toward the wall, and he's shy of that wall. He makes the play, helps it. Hurry in the throw. Well, he had him if he's able to hang on, and now Smith will move up. He had him at third.
Yeah, but Todd Helton wouldn't have gone if Gerardo Parra didn't hold it and challenge him. Had he just got it in quickly, Todd Helton was not going to run. But then Parra just decided, okay, watch, I'll challenge you. Okay. And then, yeah, the throw was there in time, but it was on a short hop. Roberts couldn't come up with it. Everybody moves up. Sometimes mano-a-mano is not team baseball. And right there, Gerardo Parra got caught.
Here's Chris Iannetta. Slightly open stance, back of the box, slider, and a dandy. Dives down and away to Iannetta.
That's got to go as an error on Parra, doesn't it, for the runner on first to move up?
Oh, he wasn't tagging. Yes, it does.
So it went up. Okay.
Yeah, yes, you're right. Smith was not tagging. Swing and a miss. Back-to-back sliders.
Back-to-back sliders. So Hudson throwing a couple of beauties. You can see that Iannetta really speeding up, thinking about hitting the Hudson fastball. Instead, he's gotten a couple of beautiful sliders. Hudson certainly needs a strikeout. Do you throw him another one here?
Yes, absolutely. They go high fastball. Let's see. They threw him another slider.
But in a good spot, off the plate, and he wasn't chasing.
Iannetta's another one who will patiently work his way through at bats. He's a slugging catcher. But his on-base percentage this season is .371 in this 8 slot.
Not biting again, 2-2.
And not an inordinate amount of strikeouts for a guy who can hit a homer, especially as a catcher. He's got 12 home runs. Came along the ranks at about the same time Miguel Montero was arriving. Both participants in the 07 postseason in the National League Championship Series. Outside, that's what he does so well.
5 straight sliders now. And you can see that Iannetta, after he got to 0-2, he choked up on the bat, and he's just going to try to get something he can handle and put it in play. Just a little ground ball anywhere, tie up the ball game, and instead he's laying off those sliders away. Now it's 3-2.
You have Alex White on deck. You have the pitcher on deck with the base open. Young man who's got 4 professional at-bats in his entire time in pro ball, and he's 0 for 4. You better pitch with that in the back of your mind, and you know that Hudson is as he works from the windup. Got him with a slider.
Straight sliders, and that time Iannetta just knew he had to come with a fastball. And Hudson very smartly staying stubborn with that slider. And that pitch is a good foot off the plate, yet you still get the swing and miss. Big time pitch.
Now, you guys are all hitters. I mean, I'm sitting next to one, and you have those 2 RBIs out there. I don't care where you're hitting in the order.
You don't want to walk. You don't. You want to drive those runs in.
And he hoped.
That's what you're paid to do.
He hoped to feed off it.
That's exactly right. Hudson very near pitching out of a big jam. Steve Reich with the fastball.
And as we mentioned earlier, 0 for 2 with the strikeout in the majors as a hitter. 0 for 2 with 2 walks in the minors as a hitter. And overall with one at bat on the other side of the league. 0 for 3. Popped up. Upton is there. They were already playing in. Upton, he picks him up. Hudson, he picks him up. Team baseball. Learn how you can play right here at Chase Field. Go to the kiosk near section 111 during regular season home games, and there's always a winner. Find out how you can get chosen to play Gila River Casino's Kachinka. Gerardo Parra.
Oh, they love him out there. They love him out there in left field. I like that.
That's great.
I like to see that. That's clever. Don't you think?
You bet I think it's clever. Very clever. A little bit more on Gerardo Parra. Brad, what do you have down there?
Well, guys, we know about his tremendous arm out there in left field. He's got some great speed as well. And lately we've been seeing him drop down some bunts along the first base side. And Kirk Gibson today telling us, he's been very proactive. That's not something they've really, had him do, forced him to do. It's something he's done on his own. And he was talking about that great play that Orlando Hudson made. He says, was I out or safe? And it looked like he was out on that play, but it's an incredibly effective weapon. And he says, look for maybe one tonight. So, maybe laying one down.
There he goes.
Not a bad idea.
On it, Brad. Well done.
Well, and Brad's right. Before the first pitch was even thrown to Parra, Kuzminov, look where he's playing. Look where he's playing, folks. That gives you so much room to swat the baseball anywhere over here for a base hit. Just by seeing in the scouting report, hey, he's been bunting lately. Now all of a sudden, you got a shot to hit to left field. Instead, he'll just hit it through the right side.
Pitch in on his hands, and Parra with the base hit. That 283 batting average now will go up.
And the 8s are being waved. I like that out there.
I love that. That's a good look.
As you said, fastball in. He just hits it right in the right spot, right between Todd Helton and Mark Ellis.
Parra, by the way, is a number 8 hitter, hitting well over 300. As John McDonald digs in. We got a big Max sign for John McDonald. I love that. I'm seeing more signs around the ballpark.
Well, it's been quite a few years since you've asked for any.
I'll bring them, folks. This is a pennant race. Express your support for your favorite players down there, especially the new ones. They see a shot of that, hear about that, it makes them feel good. Yeah, you can make some creative signs. Is that one is? I'll tell you this. Here, let me just put it this way: you could plunk down a few bucks at your local store, wherever you pick up your big poster board.
Sure.
Make yourself a sign-up for about the same price, then buy a ticket and sit in the upper deck.
Maybe even less. All those are $5 seats, folks. The ones right behind the plate, if you prefer, maybe over the Diamondbacks dugout, or maybe you like the visitors dugout. Maybe yell at them on that side of the field. $5.
1-0 the count to McDonald. That one is inside. McDonald, one of many, as we talked about in the open. That ties into our Nissan key to the game. Take a number. Oh, you know, when you go to your favorite butcher.
Yeah.
You go to your favorite ice cream shop that gets the big line. Well, they ask you to take a number.
Yeah, the deli line.
Wherever you may be, where there's more than one or two. That one is a strike, and to keep order, you have to take a number. Well, that's what it's become, especially during this winning streak and really during this season, that there's kind of a line to contribute. And it's not just the blue chip player. It's not just the MVP candidate. Justin Upton's contributed a bunch. But as you told us in the open, Gracie, you pointed your finger at some of the guys that have helped out. This guy started to help out after struggling for a few games. McDonald's made a few great defensive plays.
You have to have pleasant surprises.
Yeah, and so it's starting to be a line is starting to form to be that night's hero.
That sounds to me like you're kind of going back to the 07 years of like anybody, anytime. I know what a big fan of that slogan you were. That kind of sounds like that's just an indirect way of saying that.
Well, I'm just saying take a number. I'm not saying that at all.
All right.
The 2-1. High fly in the left. And McDonald is erased. It's an interesting throw there. Because as we all know, and we've talked about this a lot this year, 07 was 07.
Right, it was a great year.
01 was 01. This is 2011. This isn't 01. This isn't 07. This is 2011, where guys like Sean Burroughs hit homers.
All right.
He hit his last one. By the way, Burroughs, before that 07 was put up there.
It just kind of sounded to me like you're going back to 07 with that. That's all.
Now, I like to focus on this season. You know I'm big on that.
Daniel Hudson, the 300 hitting Daniel Hudson, going to bunt. And very well. He can do that too, can't he?
And he does it all very well. He's a 300 hitter. He's got 11 sacrifice bunts. That's amongst the top 5 in the National League. Yeah, he's also the best hitting pitcher in the National League, too.
This ball's in on him, but he just pulls his hands in, gets it right over towards Todd Helton. And with good speed and Gerardo Parra at first base, there's only one play. Todd Helton just makes the tag. Nicely done there by Daniel Hudson.
So he moves him into scoring position.
And Ryan Roberts hit a long ball on the third pitch of the ball game.
One 1-0 the count to Roberts. That gives him 17 home runs and 52 RBIs. You look back on the minor league career of Roberts while he was bouncing back and forth between Texas, Toronto, and the minor leagues. We saw a lot of homers. Homers in the minors. Now this year, I think to the surprise of many, you've seen a lot of homers in the big leagues.
That was home run number 17 on the year. Chris Young is one homer and one stolen base from the 2020 club. And I think Ryan Roberts is going to get there as well this year. Ryan Roberts has 17 home runs, 16 stolen bases. We saw Justin Upton get there tonight. A lot of speed and power on the 2011 Diamondbacks.
Roberts hits a high fly into center. Settles in front of the man who hauls it in and fouled it. No, seriously, I just mean take a number. Kia text poll. By the way, if you vote, you can send to receive a message from Kia Motors America. Should pitchers be considered, if you're a voter or a rider, for the MVP award? A for yes, B for no. 36929. Again, 36929. A hot topic, not in the National League, but it is a hot topic
Justin
in the American
Verlander
League.
in the American League.
That one bounces in there. Verlander already a 20-game winner. 1-0 the count to Dexter Fowler.
What do you think? I mean, you're the father of a perennial all-star and a Hall of Fame pitcher.
Well,
What would your dad think about that, Don Sutton?
The 1-0, I think what he would say, I've never had the discussion with him, but I'll give you my opinion from his perspective, or from mine too, is there has to be a severe drop-off offensively. And there really doesn't have to be there can't be a clear-cut candidate for MVP. And then you need to win about 27.
Yeah.
If you're a pitcher. Bouncing the ball, good play by Hill. Pops right back up and throws in time for the out. Out of Visalia, California, and LSU, Aaron Hill with the play.
To his left, making a sprawling ball. Save on the ball. That was a nice play there. That was a hard hit ball by Dexter Fowler. And he's one quick out. About 4 steps to his right. Smothers it. Makes a good play. Once again, speed kept off the base paths. For the second time, Dexter Fowler's 0 for 2.
Roger Clemens was the MVP in 1986. Cy Young and MVP with the Boston Red Sox. There was a small love affair that writers had in the early 80s with relief pitchers winning the MVP. When, if you folks remember,
Willie Hernandez.
Willie won in 84. Raleigh won it. Fingers in 81. And then Dennis Eckersley in 92.
But they're involved in more games, as that was fouled off. They're involved in more games closers than starters.
Here are some to consider.
See, my MVP this year is Curtis Granderson. It's Curtis Granderson for me. 121 runs, and we're not even in September yet. My goodness. Now, if there was not a position player having years like Gonzalez, Bautista, Granderson, then absolutely, I think Justin Verlander would. But those guys are doing way too well as everyday players for Justin Verlander to win the MVP. No, they've got a pitching award. It's called the Cy Young Award.
Right, hitters can't win that.
Right.
Inside.
And Curt Schilling spoke out about it. He was asked, should pitchers or starting pitchers be MVP candidates? And his answer was HE double hockey sticks, no.
Okay.
That's a former terrific starting pitcher.
You bet, who I'm sure received in his career
Exactly.
some MVP
Plenty of
votes.
MVP votes. He said we're involved in maybe a fifth of the games.
Pedro Martinez finished second to Pudge in the award back in '99. Greg Maddux finished third in the MVP back in '95. Over the last 10 years, not a single starting pitcher has finished in the top 5 in the MVP voting. I have a lot of credit to a great writer, Joe Posnanski, who did all this research. Fabulous. Visit his blog. He's a great writer. He put together a great piece on this. Joe's a wonderful, wonderful man who has covered baseball.
Well, what does Joe think?
Now, he goes back and forth, and he goes pretty deep statistically.
Oh, well.
So I don't want to get you too crazy in like wins above replacement and all that fun stuff.
Never mind.
The 3-2. High fly ball down the third baseline. Now I'll give you full disclosure though. If you use really deep stats, okay, let's say you include wins above replacement, Verlander still doesn't win. So even if you use Curt Schilling and Mark Grace's way or the deep stats, Verlander doesn't win.
Okay.
He's close. He's close.
Gas struck him out. That was an MVP fastball there from Daniel Hudson. I mean, he just reared back, went belt high out over the plate, just threw it right by Mark Ellis. 2 quick outs here in the third.
2 outs. Here is Carlos Gonzalez. Inside, our statistician Kurt Zacher got a little bit wacky with some numbers, but they're interesting.
He's been known to get a little wacky with numbers.
They're very interesting with regard to this debate. If we have a chance, we want to focus on Cargo too. We might bring it up in a bit.
Well, he's a fabulous statistician.
All right, you ready?
We'd be nothing without him. What's he got?
Justin Verlander has faced 825 batters this year.
Okay.
In other words, at bats.
Right.
Curtis Granderson has 578 at bats this year.
Okay.
The 2-0. Changeup is outside. Verlander has had 44 total fielding chances. If you put together the at-bats that he has had to deal with and the fielding chances, that's 869. If you put together Granderson's at-bats and fielding chances, you have 887. Swing and a miss, 2-2 the count.
What you just said, I'm sorry for you folks at home that had to listen to that.
I kind of like it. It kind of makes sense.
That was a dead-gum shame, what you guys just did.
2-2 the count. Pitch is up and away, 3-2 the count to Carlos Gonzalez.
Zero idea of understanding that. Anyway, Carlos Gonzalez steps in. It's full count. Daniel Hudson kicks and fires.
The 3-2. Into the dirt it goes. So Gonzalez, who has walked just 44 times this year, is on with a walk. And that is 2 walks now for Hudson. It's so funny that we find ourselves stunned with that number, but you brought up how outstanding earlier. Another way to look at it, this is start number 28. That's walk number 39.
You have to earn your way on most of the time, but unfortunately by walking Carlos Gonzalez, now you got that rascal Troy Tulowitzki, who, man, he's just so dangerous, so talented. He's been on a roll too.
That leverage stance he uses, standing very tall. I'm always intrigued with the approach of any hitter, because to me hitting's such an art, especially making it to the major leagues. But you have Paul Goldschmidt, who uses the entire batter's box, and then you have Troy Tulowitzki, about the same height, stands as tall as any hitter does. And both are dangerous hitters. I mean, Tulo is established.
There is no right and wrong as far as batting stances. One of the greatest, 2 of the greatest hitters of all time, Ricky Henderson and Pete Rose, just very strange stances. But it worked. Jeff Bagwell, crazy stance. Rod Carew, crazy stance. Joe Morgan. Lou Brock, one of the most closed stances you'll ever see. Stan Musial, his feet were right together. So there is no right and wrong. It's just what's comfortable. But I like these big guys. Did he go on that? I guess he didn't.
You're not even going to check there. So 2-0 the count. And then there was another big guy who played shortstop, who had a stance like every single player you just named at one point during his career.
He'd change every at-bat. Cal Ripken.
It was such a treat. He'd be crouched one time, bat would be like Rod Carew. He'd be standing like Tulowitzki the next time. I don't know how a hitter did that.
I was going to say, and he's one of the greatest of all time, yet I'm not a big believer in that. But that's how great he was. He could do that.
2-0 the count.
All of a sudden, Daniel Hudson finding himself losing the strike zone here. He's going to have to make a quality pitch here to Tulowitzki. He did. Strike 1 right at the knees. Tulo thought it might have dipped low, but Brian Gorman's got a pretty good sized strike zone. That'll be a strike all night.
There was a concerted effort, and you could see it when Hudson was working this spring, and it comes into play now with that ball sinking there. Most everything he threw last year had a rise effect to it. Just off the plate. Now he kind of is a combination where he will take that arm angle and sink the ball, or, and not as much, but find a way to make it jump up above bats. I think that's some of the handiwork of Charles Nagy, so that Hudson isn't throwing 108 pitches in the 5th inning. Runner goes, swing and a miss at a changeup, throw down, and a stolen base. So Montero, who has been on a big-time roll throwing out base runners, I don't know if that one's on Montero or if it was a big jump and a changeup.
Gonzalez got a really big jump. Montero didn't have much of a chance there.
He's thrown out more than 70% in the month of August.
That's a big jump, a changeup. He just beats it pretty easily.
So 3-2. 2 outs. Gonzalez already with those 24 homers.
A lot of 2020 people here tonight.
He's going to third, speaking of 2020. And that one is fouled off.
Kind of begs the question, why? No reason to steal third there. You're already in scoring position. There's 2 outs. All you're doing is giving that really good hitter in the batter's box a lot to see out behind the pitcher.
The way Tulowitzki's been going, you're in scoring position at first.
Exactly.
High, Hudson irate with himself. So now Todd Helton.
Pitch is starting to pile up here on Daniel Hudson. 2 outs into the 3rd. He's already thrown 63 pitches. 2 quick outs here in the 3rd inning, and then just got a little careless. You can see that's not the greatest of ratios here. And this is good. Daniel gets upset with himself out on the mound. He pitches angry a lot. I think Charlie Nagy sees that. All right, go ahead, get ticked off out here, but now I need you to refocus here on Todd Helton, because this guy has put a hurting on many a pitcher over the years.
The series is a 3-gamer, as we have mentioned. Wade Miley against Aaron Cook, then Josh Colmenter against Esmail Rogers. That one is on Wednesday. Those two watching. As that one is first pitch swinging on a fastball. He didn't mess around, and Young is there to put it away.
Nicely done. And a good meeting by Charles Nagy.
You bet. Funny how that works. You certainly think, along with Kurt Schilling, Mark Grace, and in most cases the way I feel about it, that The pitcher is the Cy Young, and the player, the position player, is the most valuable player. So 65-35. We want to thank Kia for partnering up with our text poll as Aaron Hill, Justin Upton, and Miguel Montero go to work. The Diamondbacks lead it by a score of 1-0.
And also, my side of the teeter-totter is going to be because I was a position player. So I'm going to have certainly a jaded version.
0-1 the count to Hill. Arizona had an interesting inning in the first, and it's kind of hard to do if you think about it. As that one is rolled out to third, nearly ate him up with a bad hop, but Kuzmanov, soft enough hands to stay with it. Bounced up right by his belt. And so 1 away. A quick reminder, 6 runs, it's a good thing. Because usually with Arizona's pitching lately, it means the Diamondbacks wins for you fans, but also anytime Arizona reaches that mark. Taco Bell gives away 3 free tacos with a large drink purchase, 4 to 6 the following day. One and 0 the count to Upton. Yes, that first inning is an inning in which they had a home run, the Diamondbacks, and 3 walks and managed just 1 run.
It's hard to do.
So you get the one for the homer. We know that. Swing and a miss.
Good dive on that fastball there from White.
White's major league debut was earlier this year against Detroit when he was pitching for the Cleveland Indians organization. Came up, was a no decision, but it was a 3-2 win over the Tigers. Oh my.
Holy Moses, Justin. To say he was a bit tardy on that fastball would be an understatement. Mercy. better speed it up a little bit there, Justin.
1-2 the count. Tired of waiting. White was the pitcher of the year for the Indians organization in the minor leagues last year.
They gave up a lot for Ubaldo Jimenez, didn't they, the Cleveland Indians?
A couple of other players, and I think the key is that one is just outside, is a left-hander by the name of Drew Pomerantz, who's pitching down in the minor leagues. He has pitched to a total, I believe he's in Double-A now, of 19 starts. He's got a 1.84 ERA, left-hander. Top prospects. And Jimenez has, unfortunately, because you Diamondbacks fans saw him a lot at his best. He just hasn't been at his best in about a year plus. Ubaldo Jimenez, that is.
Exactly.
Has more dark moments than shining moments on the mound in Cleveland, too. As that one is low. Ball 4. Boy, great at bat by Upton in the end.
It sure was. He laid off some close ones. Take the Diamondbacks wherever you go this season. Subscribe to MLB.tv today to see every Diamondbacks game on demand on your computer. Visit dbacks.com for details. MLB.tv. Baseball everywhere.
Here's Miguel Montero. Fly to right field. Let's keep an eye on Upton. They're really playing Montero. And this is the touch of Rich Dower, the one-time elite second baseman for the Baltimore Orioles in the 70s. They play, you can see, really to pull, but then the outfield goes the other way. He was one of the early coaches that grabbed those spray charts and started moving defenders around inside. The key in all of that, though, Gracie, I'm sure you've been moved around at some point in your career, too, is that man in the middle of the diamond's got to execute his pitches.
Absolutely. If you're going to play a guy that much to pull on the infield, you've got to pitch him inside with fastballs or throw slow stuff. If you throw fastballs away, you're just going away against your defense. So what's he throw? A fastball away, but he misses with it.
2-0 the count. When the Diamondbacks move around on the infield, it is Matt Williams that you will see. you won't see quite as dramatic of a shift. Matt in the dugout becomes in charge of the infield. He's in charge of base runners out when he's in the third base box. And then right over there where that throw just went, Eric Young in the first base box. When he goes in the dugout, he's in charge of moving the outfielders where they need to go.
I'll tell you what, Alex White, all this talk about defense, Alex White is putting his defense to sleep right now. He's working so slow.
Hold it on the ground on a backhand. There's one. Tulowitzki. Wow. Montero, did he hurt himself?
I think he may have hurt himself because he wasn't running very hard.
Let's hope he's all right. Fabulous effort by Tulo. We'll keep an eye on Montero for you folks. .144 this year. The Diamondbacks are last. They have only grounded into 66. Tough to double up. And we wondered about Montero if he was all right here, just not able to run hard.
Well, he's going, and then all of a sudden, I think he just assumed it was going to be a double play, quit running. Well, when you quit running it, boy, it's definitely going to be a double play. Good to see he's okay, though.
He was able to jog out and get ready to work behind the plate. I'll tell you, we focused on Montero because he's the Diamondbacks catcher and we cover him every day, but it's quite a play by Tulowitzki.
Yeah, going in hard. Was Justin Upton breaking up a double play, or at least he was trying to break up a double play, but unfortunately, Miguel Montero wasn't running. So they got the double play anyway. And we love Miguel Montero. But we got to point that out.
0-2 the count. Pitch is high. 1-2 the count. Diamondbacks lead it 1-0. And they do so when this ball game first started. Ryan Roberts hit his second leadoff homer of the year. Swing and a miss. There's that old-fashioned rising fastball. And down goes Smith. A little country hardball there. Love when Daniel goes that avenue.
Nothing sinking about that fastball. That's just right over the top of the zone and right past Seth Smith. Change up, strike one. Good stuff.
Boy, does he sell that pitch. And the body comes flying. Big 6'5" guy with that long arm coming at you, and then it just dies. Pitch is outside. You see Hudson and Kennedy both throw the changeups the way they do, and I know they're special in the way they use them. Fastball buried it in the hands. That's a tough break. As he had gone changeup, and then nearly knocked the bat out of his hands with a fastball. But Kuzminov, he muscled it out there.
He's a strong young man, and he showed Daniel Hudson just that. Got jammed, but still easily gets it out in front of Chris Young. It's a one-out base runner.
Chris Iannetta.
He's seen 6 sliders so far tonight. He just saw another one.
7. 0-1 the count.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say the game plan against Chris Iannetta tonight is sliders.
Funny thing about Hudson, that's his 3rd best pitch, but he's had a good one against Iannetta.
Oh, he hung one and got away with it. He hung one and got away with it. They're not mistakes when they're popped up, folks, but Daniel Hudson will tell you that was a mistake. Watch this one. I mean, center cut. Oh, dear me. Thank you very much, says Daniel Hudson. Chris Iannetta will have nightmares about that one tonight.
We always go back and talk about one of whatever too many, and that was almost it. White. Back to the screen it goes. 0-1 the count. Well, Alex started to kind of settle in after that gift of a first inning in which Arizona should have taken him to task more offensively. Was scoreless second, scoreless third. Swing and a miss. And it's been interesting to watch anyway. I mean, he's just getting his feet wet in the big leagues. It's just his major league start number 5 for White. I think for him, fair or not, anytime that you're a piece in a trade like that, people will watch you pretty closely. There's a good looking slider. Now that's the one he wanted to throw Iannetta again. Mr. White back out to the mound. Mr. Hudson, go get hydrated. Moment celebrating the 10th anniversary in LCS Game 4, October 2001. A lot of Braves errors. It got pretty ugly. Bobby Cox threw in the towel. He was so frustrated. Atlanta jumped ahead off of Alvy Lopez. Lopez replaced Brian Anderson. 3 Atlanta errors, though, and started to cash in. And all of a sudden, with a DeLucci single, a Womack double, Council 2-run double off of Maddox. Mark Grace pitching in. Gonzo with a 3-run homer in the 9th. It was a victory. It was October 20th, 2001. Our AT&T trivia question. which Diamondback had the most RBIs during the 2001 postseason. Paul Goldschmidt lead it off. We'll have the answer next half inning. Chris Young and Gerardo Parra right behind him. And Mr. White, we watch you again work once more. Broke the bat of Goldschmidt. It hugs the line, heading to the corner. That ball goes just foul. So he broke his bat and still bounced it over the wall.
That's a strong young man.
And broke it good,
yeah.
too. I mean, the audio enough told you how much he was able to get that one down on the hands.
You can see that's a compound fracture. This is what a broken bat sounds like. Yuck. Just sounds like yuck.
As a hitter, do you just get a little sick to your stomach feeling when you hear that?
Well, yeah. Well, when I broke my bat, it didn't go near that far. I was lucky to get it out to the outfield grass, let alone one hop over the boards.
Outside, 1-1 the count. Well, you have to give White credit. It appeared as if the last time he faced Goldschmidt back in the first inning with a runner at second and 2 outs, he just pitched right around Paul.
And if I broke my bat and hit it in the air, Darren, usually it was the infielders coming in for it.
Hits it up toward that roof, and I mean way up there. Tulowitzki awaits, and that one is there to make the play for the out. So Paul has walked, and he has popped out to short now. Yeah, I mean, he went up as high as the lower girder beams up there. Didn't come near any of them, but somewhere in between. So long, long way. Here's Chris Young. Chris struck out back in the first inning. There's that split-fingered fastball missing away. 1-0 the count. Inside.
He's got some late tilt into those right-handed hitters. He likes bullying those guys, those right-handed hitters, in with that fastball. He's broken a lot of bats.
And it's a fastball that has reached a 95 according to our CenturyLink high-speed pitch. But you're right. Doesn't throw many straight ones. Likes to sink it. He will occasionally cut it to lefties.
Good fastball in again. And that one just froze Chris Young. Tried to go right back in there. Yeah, you can see that's kind of his bread and butter pitch. He likes to go to that side of the plate. He's had trouble away to right-handers. That's why his walk count is up tonight. He's had trouble releasing it to the outside. He's going to come in again and miss. Eventually, all these walks are going to have to come back and haunt it. That's 5 now.
So against the Houston Astros last time out, he walked just 1. Against the Angels earlier this year in a start in the American League, he walked 2, and then 4 against Detroit. Just off the plate, 1-0 the count. The other lesson you have to learn, though, and he will learn it because they talk about his makeup, is got to hit the wide of the plate some.
Eventually, yeah.
This stuff's too good to apparently, on occasion, nibble. Yep,
exactly.
That's the word I was going to use. We saw Ian battle that as a younger pitcher last year. He doesn't nibble anymore.
No. Because he realizes his stuff is that good. And a lot of pitchers say, well, I'd rather walk you than throw something in the middle of the plate and give up extra base hits. Well, I'm not sure I subscribe to that theory. If you don't throw it over the plate, they're not going to swing.
1-0 the count. Runner goes with a huge jump, but it's popped foul. Kuzminov slips, and still it's about 4 or 5 rows back. Young, one of those patented off like a thief attempts. I mean, he was long gone, hand in the cookie jar.
I'm assuming it was hit and run because that was a pitch up and out of the strike zone. Gerardo Parra took a protective swing, if you will.
Young with that walk, by the way. Only Joey Votto since late July. Only Votto with more walks than Young. Ryan Roberts has that same total of 20. The patient D-backs.
Haven't said that much the last couple of years.
Who would have thought that day would come? It's fun to watch.
All right, Alex White, go ahead and throw the baseball. There you go.
In the knuckles, high fly. That's an easy chance for Fowler. And Parra is erased. Don't forget about Fox Sports Game Connect, stats and trends, exclusive analysis. You can share your thoughts with the game broadcast as well. It's Fox Sports Game Connect, available on foxsportsarizona.com. Hudson waits on deck for McDonald now with 2 outs. McDonald started to heat up offensively in his part-time role with Toronto. He went on a span of 21 games where he was hitting .370 before being traded to the Diamondbacks. With Arizona hitting .154. Just a handful of at-bats. Pitches out. Right through the bag he goes. They pitched out on Young that time, and they got him. Iannetta with the throw, the pitch out. And a perfectly called pitch out by Mr. Tracy. I think you've just given us the biggest hint of them all, folks. Luis Gonzalez. Most remember the 1, but he had 10 overall. Gonzo down below taking this one in as Dexter Fowler leads it off. Fowler followed by Mark Ellis and Carlos Gonzalez. Fowler struck out, grounded out to second. And he takes a fastball that blazes outside.
Once again, the job of Daniel Hudson is to retire the very speedy Dexter Fowler. Fowler's led off 2 innings, the first and the third. He's made 2 outs. That needs to happen again here if you're Daniel Hudson. Gas.
1-2 the count on Fowler. Really important the way Fowler handles himself defensively. So much acreage to deal with in Coors Field. A quality center fielder to say the least, as he wouldn't bite on that one. He's had a much better second half and starting to show some of the things he can do since mid-July, hitting .309 in that time. Somehow made contact with that one. Somehow.
I was going to say, I don't know how.
Is that a slider in?
That was a slider in. Might have been a changeup.
Just pulled it. We're used to seeing changeups dive away. 2-2. High fly ball, well struck into right center field. His counterpart Young is on the run. Still going, and he runs it down. Wow, what a play! A glove that this year has grown to be golden for the Diamondback center fielder.
Having to go so far to go get this ball. Looks up, then no regard for his body. I know I'm on the track. I don't care. Bang. What a great play by Chris Young. Incredible play. He's fine. And that's a game-tying save right there. If that ball gets off the wall, he hits the wall. Dexter Fowler could circle him right there.
Oh, you bet.
With his speed.
There aren't many faster on either roster than Fowler. Well, that is a great play by Young. Now, we've seen it several times this year. Don't talk to the Colorado Rockies about Chris Young defensively.
Yeah, he's hurt him quite often, hadn't he?
Now, he made a late game play early in the season. I think it was, if I'm not mistaken, Ian Kennedy that had to buy a mistake. Dexter Fowler. Dexter does plenty of that as well. Roberts on across, 2 outs. Earlier this season in a victory for the Diamondbacks, it got late. Ty Wigington tried to change the game. And he does it to him again. Oh, you bet. That's great. Good reaction there.
Kennedy hadn't stopped winning since.
I'd like to say that seems like yesterday, but it doesn't. This team has been on such an incredible journey. That seems like it was in May.
It was a while ago, wasn't it?
Different players, different roster. Change-up.
Strike one.
2 things remain the same, though. Ian Kennedy and Chris Young in that video that we have seen come into.
There have been a lot of new faces. And some old ones still hanging around.
Mm-hmm.
The right fielder's still over there.
Inside.
Number 10, Justin Upton.
Yeah, that was back in that time where the left fielder was at best a part-time player, and Gerardo Parra, he plays most daily now. 1-1 the count on Carlos Gonzalez. Inside.
Hudson wanted that one, didn't get the call. It was a little bit inside.
His first 44 games of the year, Carlos hit .245. Since then, it's .331, and that's since May.
Ooh, boy, he had a big-time rip at a fastball. He's disgusted with himself. He's going to have to walk this one off. That's one that Gonzalez usually hits a long ways. Fastball, middle. Oh, baby. But they're not mistakes when they don't get hit, Darren.
It's a monster 15-game hitting streak he is riding right now. Every number big. The 2-2. And we'll do it again.
Right back after him, this time on the inner part of the plate. That one jammed it.
I mean, now there's a hitting streak, and that is with emphasis. That's a hitting streak. 26 RBIs in 15 games.
That's ridiculous.
Goodness. 2-2. Change up. Got him out front. Well, that's some pitching right there. And that is some defense. As we get into the month of September, they start talking about postseason awards, dare I say. A glove that could be golden. I know he's got one vote right there.
Football returns to Fox Sports Arizona. Catch the new look Sun Devils against UC Davis this Thursday. And then it's an interstate matchup as NAU travels south to Tucson to take on the Wildcats this Saturday. It's all right here on Fox Sports Arizona.
First pitch, a split-fingered fastball at strike one to John McDonald. 28 pitches for White in the first inning. 28. Bouncing foul past Matt Williams in innings 2, 3, and 4. 33 combined.
Yeah, he's been pretty good since then.
He's missed a lot. I mean, it's been an interesting start. He's thrown 63 pitches. Just about half of them have been strikes. 32 strikes. That's what you don't want to do.
That was one of the few attempted sliders we've seen from White. Only seen a handful, haven't we?
Yeah, he doesn't throw many, as you can see the results with regard to the hits and the walks. Walks are a key. Over the outside corner, a fastball, one of the few straight fastballs he has thrown. 94 miles an hour.
Good pitch there from White. McDonald thought it was outside, but nothing doing. Ring it up is Brian Gorman.
Fouls that one off. Quick update from San Francisco, California.
What's going on?
We remind you of the standings. We also tell you Alfonso Soriano is homered. And he homered against Tim Lincecum. Chicago 1, San Francisco 0. Top half of inning number 5 at AT&T.
It's good to see Alfonso Soriano hit a homer against somebody besides the Diamondbacks.
Inside.
Well, he seemed to hit a bunch of home runs against the Diamondbacks the last couple of years, hadn't he?
Well, he certainly has. I guess this was down in the zone, too, because he can golf a ball out with the best of them. Hudson not happy with that pitch in before, so he took an angry swing the next pitch.
Pretty good pop on that fastball there, but it was up 2-2. Gas right by him, strike 3.
Couple of strikeouts in the inning. Let's go down on the farm, and proud to talk about more solid pitching efforts. And this night it was Tyler Skaggs.
What happened?
7 innings, he struck out 12. He was perfect for the early portions of this game. He gave up 1 run, just 3 hits this season when he has stopped in Mobile. 66 strikeouts. He is one of the elite strikeout pitchers in all of the minor leagues. Trevor Bauer, who just drafted and was signed, is dominating Double-A with strikeouts as well. So good things going on down in Double-A Mobile. They are already headed to the postseason. So congratulations, Tyler.
We can't have Goldschmidt updates anymore on those things, can we?
They kind of end up being now pitching updates. Roberts drops that back shoulder. Fastball too much for him that time. Dexter Fowler puts it away. A very quiet 1-2-3 inning for Mr. White, who's pieced it right back together. You were smitten by the ladies. Your character just decided to hug the ladies.
At least
and you were proud.
Well, that was the first winning thing my runner has ever done. That's true. But at least that guy got some nice looking females around him.
He's proud of himself tonight.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
hanging his head.
Stand up and
oh yeah, tons of high fives for the loser.
the loser.
Well, in this race, in every other one. Here's Troy Tulowitzki. Fastball, just a bit off the plate. Troy was diving, so he has to spin back out of the way. Tulowitzki came into this one in the middle of a 6-game hitting streak. A little number off the end of the bat.
Well, what a nice pitch there from Hudson.
Slider down and away, huh?
If you can get Troy Tulowitzki to take a lunging, off-balance swing like this, well, you're way ahead of the game. Just right on the outside corner, way out in front of it was Tulowitzki. So one very dangerous hitter retired here to start the 6th inning. Daniel Hudson picking up right where all the starters have been leaving off, Darren.
Just putting another 0 up on that board. He faces Todd Helton. Changeup dips over the outside part of the plate. 0-1 the count to Todd. Todd Helton this year slugging .480. Last year he slugged .367. That's the bounce back he's had.
Another changeup, another strike.
Hold that one. Rarely you see Hudson get it that far in. Had good effect to it. His career slugging percentage, Todd, is over .550, so heading up in closer territory this year.
Wow. You don't see Helton take many swings like that either. Right now, Daniel Hudson, 2 terrific hitters in Tulowitzki and now Helton taking awkward off-balance swings. Man, that's doing it right there if you're if you're Daniel Hudson.
And let us not forget, you can go back just a few skips to that 5th inning that he ended by striking out Carlos Gonzalez on a changeup.
He's got it working right now. Seth Smith, though, he has 15 home runs, steps in. Right in the $5 seats. You can actually call those the cheap seats, can't you?
Well, you certainly can. Look at this, the entire series, Gracie.
All those people sitting there for $5.
602-514-8400. Visit dbacks.com/$5. About 2,000 additional people take advantage of tonight, so good for you guys. Make that number 5,000 tomorrow night. I think let's make it 10,000 additional.
I agree.
Fill the upper deck. The 2-1 to Smith.
Oh,
Change
baby,
of pace.
Daniel Hudson.
Yeah, the
group packages. All those lovely ladies came in. $5. That's all.
Into the dirt it goes. 3-2 the count. The 3-2. Got him with a changeup.
That's the best inning we've seen Daniel Hudson have tonight. No question. Went through 3 awfully good hitters rather easily.
Things. Ryan Roberts jumped on it early. His 3rd career leadoff homer. 1-0 Arizona out top. Looking to add on, but knowing that Daniel Hudson will be there if they can't. Well, they haven't been able to since, and Daniel Hudson has been there for him. He was a bit in peril early on. He's had some great defense late. A great play by Chris Young last inning, or 2 innings ago to be correct about it. And it's been, as he talks with his manager, Kirk Gibson, he has sat down the last 8.
Read his lips, he just said, I'm good. And he has been good. He's been real good. Just 2 hits through 6 innings for the Colorado Rockies off Daniel Hudson. I'm sorry, 3 hits. How silly of me.
Arizona's a team that has just 2 hits, but they have the one big run.
Solo home run by Ryan Roberts in the first. That's been it. What's turned into a big-time pitcher's duel.
1-0 the count on Aaron Hill. He has walked. He was picked off of first. He has grounded out to third. Hill fouls it off. A bit more on Aaron. Let's bring Brad back in. What do you have, Brad?
Well, guys, it's always tough when you're traded late in the season. Aaron Hill and John McDonald were on that flight when we got back after that 10-day road trip. They went straight to their new home, which is a hotel room. But Aaron and his wife are looking for places here in the Valley. He says there are a ton of houses out there, but they all want 6 months in terms of a lease. So he's hoping he can get something that's 1 or 2 as he drills one up the middle, but he's certainly making it happen between the lines.
Yeah, he keeps hitting like that. Somebody will give him a deal. We'll find a Diamondback fan. Somebody will give him a deal, and he's starting to. I know he needs a house to be comfortable, but he's been more comfortable in the box.
Absolutely. Yeah, go ahead and keep swinging like that. It'll be easy to find a landlord for you. Yeah, just come on and stay with me there, Aaron. Just make breakfast.
Oh, he's got to make breakfast.
Well, of course. I'm not a very good cook.
So he is on in front of Justin Upton.
A little longer. Oh, my goodness. Well, Justin Upton in some serious pain. I'm not sure where that got him. A lot of times in your back area, if you can take a shot in your liver area, and if you get hit in your liver area, you will go down.
15 times he's been hit this year.
It doesn't matter if you're a 350-pound gorilla. You take a liver shot, you will go down. And that looks like that's what happened to Justin Upton.
Ken Crenshaw, Kirk Gibson out there with him. Head athletic trainer Ken Crenshaw.
He's down, and I'm sure probably got the breath knocked out of him. He's going to be all right. No, it's not the liver area. That's just right in the spine. I mean, right in the zero in Upton. He took that right off his backbone. Ouch. He's having trouble shaking this one off.
I think you said it, square in the spine area, square in that backbone.
I mean, there's no meat on your body, no matter how big you are, to protect that spine area in your back. When you take one right in the spine, it hurts.
And while Upton got up and took that walk, Alex White was standing almost on second base. He's been hit a lot this year, folks, and that time there's a pitcher in his 5th big league start. He wanted to come in. He wasn't wanting to hit it.
Well, of course he wasn't trying to hit it.
He wanted to come in. You established earlier he's been trying to come in.
He's been bullying right-handers inside all night. Justin just took a shot. I would imagine Daniel Hudson and or some other starting pitchers have filed that away. Yep, we're going to have a fight here this series. Stay tuned, folks.
Montero, that's another way to retaliate. Aaron Hill racing on around. Carlos Gonzalez to throw the slide. Safe at the plate. And Upton pointing across the diamond at Montero and saying, that's how you pick me up.
Great jump by Aaron Hill off the second base. Carlos Gonzalez has a bazooka for a left arm in right field. So you're going to have a play at the plate. Matt Williams knows, come on, Aaron Hill, you need to go, son. Perfect throw on one hop. Just getting in there ahead of that is Aaron Hill. 2-0 Diamondbacks, and on the play, Justin Upton on the way to third base as well. You're right. That's how you take up for your fallen teammate. Go ahead and bang a base hit and put another earned run on the board.
Upton stretching that back over there at third, seeing that everything gets going. Probably doesn't hurt to get run, get the blood flowing.
Yeah, it hurts.
So now Paul Goldschmidt.
Well, he just went right after Goldschmidt with that fastball in the middle of the plate. And the big fella was tardy.
And for Miguel Montero, it's just been a good couple of weeks. He's been throwing very well, as we documented. He has been coming up with big hits. Wasn't so big on the back end of that double play earlier tonight, but he washed it away with the RBI. Something grabbed on him. Had to. Oh, my.
Good look change split up there, the split. Whatever it is, it was a dandy. Now it's time for Goldschmidt to just make contact. Try to find some contact somehow, some way. You've got to deliver Justin Upton. Even a double play ball here makes it 3-0.
High fly ball into right center field, off the wall. Come on down, Upton scores, standing up, hold, Goldschmidt gets it done.
That's contact.
An awful two-strike pitch. And Upton just waited. Fowler for a moment played it like he had a beat on it. Upton just figured, oh wait, and as soon as it hit the wall, he jogged home.
0-2 pitch down the middle. Goldschmidt smokes it off the center field wall. That plate's Justin Upton. And listen. Oh, baby, does that bat make a sound. Middle of the wall. Fowler makes a good play, playing it off, holding Montero to third base. Pitching coach Bob Apodaca is going to come out and have a talk with young Alex White. Diamondbacks starting to pour it on here late. That is one strong young man, isn't it, Darren?
Well, it's so incredible, and obviously, yes, to your question. It's been so much fun to watch his debut, but what's been fun is his homestand. Because that's about, correct me if I'm wrong, the fourth or fifth time he's hit a ball hard to center field. To center field, not pulling it, but the fourth or fifth time. That's really encouraging.
Yeah, he's got unlimited power, just unlimited.
Uh-oh, bat goes one way, ball goes another. Never like when that happens with Young. You find yourself worried about that hand still. He pops that one out.
That was one of those where, he probably hurt that hand, thumb area. I'm just going to rip those batting gloves up. Bad gloves. Those die a painful death. Let's see what happens here. Bat just came out of his hand. It's weird. Now they're going to walk Gerardo Parra and take their chances with John McDonald after a huge out there off the bat of Chris Young.
Yes, if Chris is playing uncomfortable.
I've never seen anything like that. Like the bat just go flying down the third baseline.
And he'll keep playing. I mean, his manager has talked about it. If, in fact, that hand is still troubling him, he's going to play through it. But there have been indications and check swings in certain moments. And you have to give him credit because as he started to hit, he's leaned on the ball more, shown more power, and drawn more walks. But that was one of those, to me, little indicators that something wasn't right.
And in this situation, you have to score more than 2 runs in this inning. The way it unfolded, base hit, hit by pitch, base hit, double, second and third, nobody out. 2 runs across, you've got to score more runs.
Well, and
this game should be put away in this inning, Darren.
And the reason is, for obvious reasons, I mean, the Diamondbacks have pitched very, very well, and you hope they can continue to do it. But that club over there has been hitting, and they hit in Dodger Stadium. They have been hitting.
Yes.
And there's a couple of guys in there that have been feeling their oats, who have been quiet to this point tonight, who won't stay quiet. Talking about Gonzalez and Tulowitzki. All right, a big chance for a newer Diamondback veteran, John McDonald, the shortstop. Bounces that ball toward the hole. Tulowitzki the throw. Everybody's safe. A seeing eye ground ball off the bat of the veteran. He hears the roar of the crowd. He knows it's all good. I'll tell you what, that key to the game, take a number coming into play because it seems to be everyone is pitching in. Just a ground ball that he put in the right spot.
Only a terrific play by Troy Tulowitzki keeps this from going to the outfield and saving a run. How about Gerardo Parra busting it to second base from first to make sure that's a base hit? And the Diamondbacks continue to add on. Just putting the ball in play in that situation, John McDonald adds to the lead.
McDonald in a crazy kind of run, too, of late. And here's the pitcher, Daniel Hudson. Big swing. McDonald is now 10 of his last 18 going back to Toronto with runners in scoring position.
Well, you love that.
Does that tell you he just doesn't try to do too much?
I think you just saw what he tries to do in those situations. He doesn't go up there and take that, I'm going to hit this ball in the gap, or I'm going to hit this ball into the seat swing. He just goes up there and this is I'm going to get myself a base hit swing. Doesn't try to do too much. And sure enough, he adds to the lead.
Hudson, line drive, base hit left field. Matt Williams stops the runner. Now he comes on through, and it's bobbled to the plate. At the plate, knocked him down hard. Out at the plate. Or did he? Yeah, he was pulling it out. Iannetta holds on. He is bowled over by Parra. And Hudson comes up with yet another RBI for Daniel Hudson. That's 14 RBIs this year.
And tough to find out just what happened over there with Matt Williams and Gerardo Parra. It looked like Matt Williams had the stop sign up. And the ball is bobbled. That ball's just blistered by Daniel Hudson. Nothing new there. Now the ball's bobbled. And then Parra just, I didn't see Matt do anything. He's a dead duck at the plate. And I think Chris Iannetta might be bleeding at the plate. He might have a bloody nose or a bloody mouth. They're coming out and checking on him. Well, he seems to be all right as far as blood-wise. He took a bit of a shot. Parra came up. Looks like a bit of a forearm shiver. And he comes up. There's the slide. And then up. Yeah, it's a forearm shiver right to the neck. That might be for Justin Upton.
Boy, Chris did a great job.
Nothing wrong with that.
And Iannetta did a great job holding on to that ball. Both players just playing hard baseball. Arizona this year is hitting nearly 400 with the bases loaded. I mean, you want to talk about a way to demoralize an opposing team? Get hits with the bases loaded.
Bases loaded, get 2 out hits. That absolutely, like you said, Derek, demoralizes another team. And Daniel Hudson just continues. There's your silver slugger at the pitcher's position right there. I mean, that's hands down.
He almost needs to be looked at a little bit more often as a pinch hitting option late in games, too.
Yeah, you just hate to get him hurt, getting hit by a pitch or something like that. Like Justin, you don't want Daniel to take one in the spine.
All right, I got a little ahead of myself there. I'm sorry, folks. That one is fouled off at the plate. No, he should be an option.
All right, you win.
Five to nothing is the score in the bottom half of the sixth inning. Roberts into center field, and that one is played by Fowler. All sorts of offense in this inning. First you have a star drilled in the square of the back. He was down for a while. Then they started picking him up and continuing to pick up Upton. Even the pitcher, Daniel Hudson, got it done. I'd even have a Donnybrook in a bit. It's still hot outside. We hope to see you in the next couple of days. $5 seats in the upper deck. Team making a run at the playoffs here at Chase Field, or so they hope. They've got to keep it up for another month. We look to see you being a part of it down here. Daniel Hudson, too. He has started to settle in on the bump. You know, there were some stressful moments early on, and he created some of them, he'll tell you, with walks. But innings 1, 2, and 3, he had 2 hits, 3 walks, 3 strikeouts. Since then, innings 4, 5, and 6, just 1 hit, 5 strikeouts, no walks.
Yeah, he has really found a real good groove here in the middle of the ball game. Seems like that sparkler of a play that Chris Young made in center field really got him on a good roll. He's going to face the 7, 8, and 9 hitters for the Rockies here in their half of the 7th.
0-1 the count, Kevin Kuzminoff. The Arizona Diamondbacks in Daniel's 27 starts are 16 and 11. As we told you earlier, he works with an ERA of 3.75. That one is inside. He has won 20 of his starts since coming to Arizona in a trade last year with the White Sox.
Slider there. Thrown a lot of sliders tonight. It's certainly been a third weapon for him tonight, wouldn't you say?
It has, especially against this part of the order. Iannetta, who waits in the on-deck circle, has had to deal with some tough sliders. Good idea. He wouldn't go around.
Daniel's at 106 now on the pitch count. So I would imagine nobody warming up in the bullpen, but I would imagine this will be Daniel's last inning. He'd love to make it another really crisp, clean inning. And that's a good start right there. He just jammed Kuzminoff in that situation. Don't miss the Diamondbacks World Championship Reunion Weekend presented by Gila River Casinos, September 9th through the 11th. Be here Friday night when we take a trip back to 2001 with the throwback unis and a post-game fireworks show featuring the at-back music of the 2001 team. Call 602-462-4790. Visit dbacks.com/reunion.
Here is the aforementioned Chris Iannetta. Pitches high a moment ago to Kuzminov. You know, he got him and he jammed him big time. And this was a changeup. That's the run he gets on that changeup coming in at 84 miles an hour. And it had great effect. Every changeup doesn't have to be way out on the corner and just look tantalizing. Most of the time it's good to be there.
Yeah, well, what happens a lot of times, a hitter will recognize changeup and just wait too long and then jam themselves, and that's exactly what happened.
There's that's the ideal spot,
there.
right? 1-2 the count. One, two. Broke his bat. After that pretty changeup, he threw that rising fastball. We're seeing a few more of those late. Love that rising fastball. That's how he exploded onto the scene in Arizona with that pitch a lot.
Boy. Even late in the ball game, 111 pitches in, two very easy outs here to start the 7th inning. Brad Ziegler out there getting loose just in case Daniel Hudson runs into some trouble here in the 7th. We said earlier, Darren, that David Hernandez is indeed available tonight after taking that shot to the leg a couple of nights ago. We're going to have a pinch hitter. That's E.Y. Jr.
Yeah, dead top step, going to watch his son work. Has spent a majority of this year in AAA, Eric Young Jr. He can run. That's the one thing we know about him. 37 career stolen bases since part-time play back and forth in 2009. Pitch is up and in. 1-0 the count. Well, you want to get him smile, ask him about him.
They don't look alike, do they? Boy, he is throwing the ball so well here in the 5th, the 6th. Now the 7th inning, 1-2-3 in the 5th, 1-2-3 in the 6th, trying to do it here again in the 7th, finish strong. And there's a changeup bunted at. I'm sure Eric Young Sr. over there in the Diamondback dugout probably like to see his son go ahead and try and drive it in the gap.
If he drives it in the gap, it could be 4 bags. Inside, 2-2 the count. Maybe the final pitches of the ball game for this right-hander. The 2-2. Outside. He's feeling it, trying to sprint through that tape at the finish line. He's a 116. He will go no further than this inning. He may go no further than this batter.
Yeah, you got to look at the big picture here.
The 3-2 pitch. Popped up. Out to short. Daniel Hudson, fabulous tonight.
It is Diamondbacks Live, presented by CenturyLink. Our post-game show, Jody Jackson alongside Joe Borowski. And Joe, Daniel Hudson looking for his 14th win. I'll borrow your phrase, walking a tightrope there the first 3 innings, but then settling in and really giving his team a chance to explode offensively.
Yeah, Daniel Hudson did a great job of keeping the Diamondbacks in the lead, enough for them to break through in that 6th inning. I'm going to break down that 6th and show you exactly how the Diamondbacks were able to scratch across 4 runs against Alex White, Colorado starter.
I had a feeling they might tack a few more on. How about Daniel Hudson, 14 RBI now on the season to go with what we hope is that 14th win.
Good stuff. Look forward to talking baseball with you, Jody, and Joe Borowski, the other guy. He is known as OG out there. As Aaron Hill gets ready to go to work.
Lots to smile about if you're Daniel Hudson.
One 1-0 the count to Aaron Hill. Outside. 2-0 the count to Hill. Another good night as a Diamondback, a walk, a single, a run scored. That one in on his hands, and it's popped up. Hamill comes on out of the bullpen.
Hey, Dan, I want to take you back as we look at Daniel Hudson. Remember back in the 3rd inning, I believe it was, he got a couple of quick outs, and then he walked Carlos Gonzalez, and then he walked Troy Tulowitzki, and he was mad. He was angry on the mound. What happened? Charles Nagy went out to the mound, had a conversation with that young man, and he never looked back.
No.
After that, I think Charles Nagy had a lot to do with the success of Daniel Hudson tonight. I might be looking too much into things, but I'm telling you, I've been around this game a long time, and I'm telling you, I really think Charles Nagy is the MVP of this game tonight, if you're asking me.
13 of 14 after that visit. He retired 13 of 14.
Calmed him down. And Daniel Hudson even admits, yeah, I get angry on the mound. I get mad at myself. I get mad at the situation. And there's nothing wrong with that. He has high expectations of himself, and he gets mad at himself. But boy, he dominated after that meeting with Charles Nagy.
That pitch is a breaking ball from Hamill. 1-2 the count. I think you're right on to something. A starter's arm certainly now working out of the bullpen. You can see now in that bullpen trying to lower the ERA. Big stuff just didn't translate as a starter. I mean, you'll see when he works, folks. You'll see big stuff from Hamill.
Got a good fastball. He's got a terrific curveball, a swing and miss curveball that's been his weapon.
$5-0. Arizona leads it. Oh, he'd love another chance.
Yeah, did you see Chris Iannetta, his catcher? Pounded his glove at him like, don't you ever hang another breaking ball to Justin Upton again. And this is the hanging breaking ball here, and Iannetta, dang it, knock it off.
That's great.
I love that. He hung him another one. He got away with that one as well.
Well, Justin jammed himself. You were telling us earlier about jamming yourself.
And Iannetta right out to the mound. He got another hanging breaking ball, and this is going to be a monologue. Hey, what the heck's that all about? I love that. That's a catcher being the backbone of the ball club right there. His job is to get Hamill through this inning unscathed. Go ahead and give him a little bit of a fanny chewing out there. I like that.
I got something else you'll like. Blake DeWitt, 3-run homer. The Chicago Cubs, 5. The San Francisco Giants, nothing. Blake DeWitt, a 3-run homer. Bouncing ball on a backhand to Tulowitzki. On across, Montero eases through the bag.
Let's hope he's okay.
Brought to you by Southwest Airlines' new Rapid Rewards. Unlimited rewards seats with no blackout dates. CenturyLink. Quest is now CenturyLink. Visit CenturyLink.com to learn more.
Smoke.
5-0 the score. Arizona on top of Colorado. Dexter Fowler to lead it off. Well, Daniel Hudson, as we thought, is done. Brian Shaw will go to work. Sixteenth appearance of the season, a 3.29 ERA. Drops down a bunt, but it's right to him.
Thank you very much.
Great idea, poor execution. Chaz Roberts, air conditioning, cool. Chris Young, off the bat of Dexter Fowler, has the ability to swing and hit it that far. But he just dropped down a bunt. That's a great play by Young earlier in the ball game. If you missed it, you can throw shutout baseball. It's not all on you. Never will be. Well, the Cubs just pouring it on now.
Tim Lincecum got knocked around for 5 runs, gave up 3 home runs, a career high, 3 home runs, and then Carlos Pena has hit another home run for the Chicago Cubs, and they're laying it on the San Francisco Giants. I mean, a huge opportunity now for these Diamondbacks to move 5 ahead of the second-place Giants.
Into the seats it goes.
And Darren, what the Diamondbacks did the previous 3 nights, they put the San Diego Padres to bed for the rest of the season. And if they can get 5 more outs tonight, they're well on their way to doing the same thing to the Colorado Rockies. Another comeback. 2 quick outs.
And all the while, he keeps them.
He keeps downplaying it, doesn't he?
Focused, hungry, humble, reminding them, let's say, of what happened to Colorado last year. They came into this ballpark a game and a half back. They were rolling. They had won about 13 of 16. The Diamondbacks swept them, the lowly Diamondbacks then.
30-something games under 500 Diamondbacks.
And Colorado won once the rest of the year. So Gibson reminds them of those stories.
Sure. Well, it was about now that the San Diego Padres had a 3 or 4 game lead in the West last year, and all of a sudden had a 10-game swoon, and the San Francisco Giants overtook them. It can happen.
A little roller on a backhand. Got to hurry. Got him.
John McDonald can play some shortstop, folks.
top of Colorado. Don't forget, fans, get a chance to win an 0-1 World Championship ring of your own by buying tickets. Raffle tickets tomorrow night during our telecast. Proceeds go to support our everyday heroes, those that protect us in our community. Everyone who buys more than $50 worth of raffle tickets will receive a great autographed item. I mean, a unique autograph, limited print edition, autographed by you, Gracie, Luis Gonzalez, Matt Williams, and Jay Bell, receiving a print for every $50 raffle ticket they purchase. 602-462-3899. Log on to dbacks.com/ring raffle.
I got one of them, folks. You want one?
I'm buying a bunch of
tickets.
They're
very big league.
I wasn't here, so I'm buying a bunch of tickets.
You're going to love it.
I'm going for the win.
Houston Street's going to take over for the Colorado Rockies here in the 8th inning. Houston Street, a terrific pitcher. Just a terrific pitcher. He's been derailed by injuries here this year more than anything.
One and one the count. Swing and a miss. Back to the screen it goes. 1-2 the count on Goldschmidt. Quick note on Lincecum in that outing, by the way. In his last 9 starts, 9, he had given up 8 total runs. He gave up 5 runs tonight. That's how good he had been. In. Still trying to keep that arm warm. I'm thinking there may be more work for him. The bullpen is pretty quiet.
He may just go back out for the ninth. He had such a quick, easy ninth. This happens chopped over the box.
Look at Paul run.
Well, for a big guy, he gets down the line. He can move it a little bit. An infield base hit. No? Not buying it?
I'm buying it. I didn't know if he got a call. If he got a call for an infield hit.
Well, I think you got to give him an infield hit here, don't you? Oh.
Not that kind of call.
Oh, I think I'm...
This kind of call.
Goldschmidt.
That's all I wanted to know if you get that for an infield hit. I mean, if a slugger can hit it literally up there to Futures Field and yet leg out an infield hit, I just thought you might have some props for him. That's all I'm saying.
Well, that's a 2-hit night along with a walk.
In this fun rivalry, Diamondbacks fans are watching everything that goes on in San Francisco. San Francisco fans are watching everything that goes on in Arizona. And you're fun-natured, and you started saying it when Paul Goldschmidt was in Double-A and just starting the season hitting homers, the way you say his name with such passion.
Right.
It's kind of become said a lot on the air up there.
That's kind of
fun
little banter.
I have found out that there is much respect from Giant fan towards the way you say Goldschmidt.
They like that, huh?
They do like that.
That's good to know.
They're
going to keep hearing it, trust me.
I just thought I'd share that with you. The 1-1. Pitch is high, 2-1 the count. Young tonight, walked, struck out, popped to second against Houston Street.
Oh, what a pitch.
That one had a lot of things that you want in a breaking ball. First of all, it backed off in velocity, so it had the change of speeds, but it really had, number 2, a late break on it, and had good depth. I mean, just everything going into a slider you'd want. You can't throw much better than that. And that one harder. Right over the top of it goes. Gerardo Parra came in hard and bowled over Chris Iannetta. That was back in the 6th inning. It's kind of an in-between situation where he slid, stopped sliding almost completely, and as he popped up, that's when Iannetta took it. Swing and a miss. 0-1 the count. Out front, down the line, a little bit too far out front, though. Taking a look ahead at the rest of this series. Aaron Cook, Wade Miley, that's tomorrow night. Esmail Rogers and Mr. Colementor, that is Wednesday night. And then it's an off day, then it's off to San Francisco for the weekend. Speaking of those Giants, as they are being shut out 6-0 tonight, Chicago's managed 6 runs in that ball game. In their last 40 games, San Francisco has scored 6 runs or more just 4 times.
That's one of the lousiest offenses in the history of baseball. And tonight, the San Francisco Giants, they have one of the most amazing pitching staffs I've ever seen, as that one swatted foul. But just such an inept offense. It's just got to be so frustrating for Giant fans. And tonight, through 7 innings, the Giants have already gotten 1 hit.
Out front, popped up. That one is put away by Dexter Fowler in center field. This is where a lot of winning has gone on this season for the Diamondbacks. Still as improbable of a season as anyone could ever imagine. But now knee deep in the middle of it here in late August and almost into September. Arizona 16 games over 500 right now. And looking to hold on and win this thing and move to 17 over.
Have they been that high yet this year?
I don't think they have.
I don't believe so.
No, that would be a high water mark. Two and 0 the count, and it's been kind of a race to this point that could shift at any time, so you show this for information purposes only. But the Diamondbacks, since August 1st, have put their foot on the gas a bit. When everyone thought with an East Coast trip that they may, understandably so, start to tire. San Francisco, and mainly because of the offense, has been unable to, because look at the difference in, let's say, the starting rotation earned run average, which has been great for Arizona lately, but big picture, San Francisco's been better in that area.
Well, the last 6 games, Diamondback starters, my goodness. I mean, it's been a joke. Now it's 7 games. Diamondback starters have given up, 5 runs in the last 7 games? 4 runs in the last 7 games for the starters.
Into right field. And with 3 outs, they can continue to keep the heat on the San Francisco Giants. 4 now. Arizona leads it by a score of 5-0. Nagy visited. So let's pull it back together. Our APS Energy All-Star. I think you share the award. If you're going to give it to Daniel Hudson, you give a small slice of it to Charles Nagy for the perfectly timed visit.
I agree. Daniel Hudson was starting to get angry with himself. Charles Nagy saw it, calmed him down. And then also Daniel Hudson, go ahead and take your anger out on the baseball when you got a bat in your hand. So Charles Nagy, I think he realized, hey, my young stud's out there and he's getting angry at himself and he's starting to unravel. I need to go out there and be a calming influence, and he certainly was. And Daniel Hudson pulled it right back together. And he was dominating tonight.
Oh, and on the count to Troy Tulowitzki. The Arizona bullpen since August 21st has worked 16 innings and given up 1 run. The Arizona bullpen again with a ERA very low. And that same ERA can be shared to the starting rotation as well in their last 7. So
I like to see David Hernandez just resting out there. Give that leg another day or so to get better. Let the rest of the guys go ahead and do their thing.
That's foul tip. They said it hit it. On 0-2, trying to come inside.
Looks like it just grazes a finger there of Tulowitzki. It sure did.
Tough break because you could see it about 6 inches, and it just got his fingers about 6 inches off the inside corner. But as Troy dove and the hands went down, that's when it got him in the, just barely, as you said, grazed the finger. And he's showing him right there.
Brian Shaw is going to be removed. Looks like Joe Patterson's going to come in, face the left-handed hitting Todd Helton.
Driving hard for hours, trying to make that Memphis show.
And you've been cheering hard for the Cubs, I'm guessing. By the way, this weekend against San Francisco, Diamondbacks TV will carry the game on Fox Sports Arizona on Friday and on Sunday. Saturday's game, and it's been lifted, usually would have been blocked out here, you can find on the MLB Network on Saturday, 6 o'clock
news.
On the MLB Network. If you want to journey away from Fox Sports Arizona and their extensive football, college football coverage on Saturday to follow the Diamondbacks in a huge weekend series, join us Friday and Sunday, and then on the MLB Network on Saturday. Breaking ball, it's a strike. You can also grab your radio and listen to Sports 620 KTAR and listen to the call with Greg Schulte.
Mike Fetters will be there as well with him.
Fouled back to the screen. Joe Patterson goes to work for the 54th time this season. And you know, you talk about the pressure he has fallen into. Out front, popped up, Gerardo Park. 1 out. So, Joe, there's a lot of ways to look at a relief pitcher, but if you're just a casual baseball fan and you want to learn a little bit more, don't look just at the ERA. As you can see, Ty Wigington will pinch hit. Now, it matters. His ERA is 2.64, and that's really good. But he's also inherited 40 runners when he's come on out of the bullpen. That's a high total.
That's a lot of base runners to come in and look at.
And only 10 have scored.
That's so good for a guy with absolutely zero big league experience, not even AAA experience before this year.
So Hernandez is starting to throw in the bullpen, bounced in there. He was available yesterday. His manager intentionally did not use him and wasn't going to use him unless he was pushed into it. Kirk Gibson told David Hernandez before the game today, and this is a quote, "I'd like to, and I'm going to try to get you in there tonight." Hernandez sharing that with me before the game. And this may be right now, though, just a chance, as that one is lined in left center field, to get up and see how it feels. We'll see what happens. Phone's ringing down there.
Well, I don't know if Hernandez is ready yet, though. That's the problem. He just got up. So Charles Nagy going to come out. It's going to be Joe Patterson. I can't see Charlie Nagy making the pitching change. So now David Hernandez is going to he's going to throw some intention out there now. J.J. Putz also has joined.
The veteran Wigington comes up with a base hit. And now here is Kevin Kuzminoff.
This becomes a big batter in this game now. Joe Patterson's going to have to find a way to retire Kuzminoff. You got nothing but right-handers. You also have two guys in the bullpen. Yeah, they're right-handers, but they're not loose yet. So Joe Patterson needs to find a way to retire Kuzminoff in this situation. He falls behind 2-0.
Two and one the count. Patterson's last 7 outings with runners in scoring position, opponents hitless in 6 tries. See if we can get one on the ground here. Swing and a miss. Good dive on that one. 2-2 the count.
Nothing on the ground there. Just right over the top of it was Kuzminoff because of that great sink that Patterson put on that pitch.
Two to the backstop. That'll go to get him.
That's just a big mistake there by Joe Patterson.
Just missed his spot dramatically. Otherwise, he had him eaten out of his hands.
And now all of a sudden, Gibby's going to have to go get Joe Patterson. I mean, yeah, he missed his spot by 8 feet. And Gibby's going to come get him now, I would imagine. I think he has to. I don't think he has much of a choice. He may go with Putz. We'll see. Gibby? Gibby? There you go. It may be Putz, because this now becomes a save situation. The tying run is in the on-deck circle. So it could be JJ.
Herrera was out on deck.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be JJ Putz.
All right, Puts coming on, looking to lock this ball game down. 5-0 is the score. A little bit of noise being made by the Rockies, and the veteran Jason Giambi's grabbed the bat. First bump in the road, a true bump in the road for the Arizona Diamondbacks. Now with the team that has been hitting a lot lately, just not tonight. The bases are full. First up, Chris Iannetta. He's got a whole loaded bases situation to deal with. JJ's been hot, a 2.70 ERA, and that's big picture. If you're looking at the micro level, and his time since coming off the disabled list, he has been really, really effective.
He's going to have to be here in this situation. I'm sure Gibby really didn't want to get J.J. Puts into this game, but now it's necessary. It's a safe situation.
And he comes right down the heart of the plate looking to jump ahead. 0-1 the count, Chris Iannetta. That's what we're talking about. That's the work he has done. Needed that time, had some trouble in the back of his elbow, but I will argue that, and he will too, I think, that the rest was just as good for him as well.
I agree.
The 0-1. In.
Boy, what is going on?
And now another run in front of, representing the tying run, Giambi.
Boy, this is crazy.
The veteran Jason Giambi, 40 years old.
That one just runs in, nowhere for Iannetta to go. It gets him right in the arm. Boy, all these free base runners. That's 3 hit by pitches in this inning alone. 3. One by Shaw, one by Patterson, now one by Puts, and the tying run is at the plate.
One long ball as a pinch hitter this year. Fastball is high to Giambi. Overall, he has seen more action as a starter. He's homered 12 times this year. Wants to continue to play. And a bunch of hits in his career with the bases loaded, some of them over the boards, as you can see. The 1-0 to Giambi. Swing and a miss. 1-1 the count.
He just threw back through that one right by Giambi on the outer third.
The 2000 American League MVP. The 1-1. Beat him with a fastball.
I'll give you this. A lot of courage there from J.J. right down the middle, belt high with a fastball to, as you said, the former MVP. I mean, that is just center cut. Giambi had a good swing at it.
Now be ready, Miguel Montero, if he's going to bounce that split-fingered fastball. How to block it up. Well, a couple of old war horses battling here. Big fellas. Hook some carts up behind those two guys. Let them.
A couple old bulls fighting over some territory here, butting heads.
Exactly what it is. The 1-2. Base is full. There it is, into the dirt. Nice job, Montero. These guys have met plenty of times. There have been 15 total plate appearances. JJ has won the battle a majority of the time. The 2-2. Swing and a miss, and down goes Giambi.
What a split finger from J.J. Putz.
Straight down and went. Didn't have that dive down and away. That one was down an elevator shaft.
It is just gone. What a pitch. What a pitch. Let's get a look at that grip. It's split. And the ball just never got there, and a huge out. There, now Dexter Fowler. His turn to represent the tying run here in the 9th inning.
Fowler pops it up. Over. Gerardo Parra. The Diamondbacks win again. How many foe of late, Arizona seems to be able to stand up tall and put chest to chest and come away the victor. A big part of the reason has been the pitching, though. Again, the starting pitching, this time Daniel Hudson. He was outstanding tonight. He's got 14 wins for the Arizona Diamondbacks. And keeping an eye on the Chicago Cubs, what they are doing to the San Francisco Giants to this point, the Diamondbacks could be eating their breakfast tomorrow morning, and they could do so with a 5-game lead in the National League Western Division. Good baseball all around, consistent baseball for the Diamondbacks as part of this now 7-game winning streak for Arizona. That's why you brought J.J. Putz in here. We got to talk about it on the post-game show. Joe and Jody are standing by. Let's get it on out to them. Great interview from down in the diamond. We'll break it down into the locker room. The post-game show after this break.